Hey everybody, welcome back to Electric Cafe. This album review is on Pixies' second album, 1989's Doolittle. This Back in '89, this was the first Pixies album I heard. I don't remember how I got it. I remember I had the cassette, and maybe I borrowed it from somebody, and then I had to give it back because I don't remember having it for very long. But I remember listening to it to check it out. Um, it might have been one of those albums. There was a time when there was a. If you guys are as old as I am and you guys are from California, which is probably very few of you, but back in the '80s, Warehouse Records, which I think ended up becoming Music Plus, which became Blockbuster. I think got taken over by Blockbuster Music, and then Blockbuster Video sort of became that. Warehouse became kind of that lineage of Music Plus, and then into Blockbuster Music and Video. I think Blockbuster Music and Video like bought out those two previous companies. But back in the '80s, Warehouse um, was a big record store in California. I'm not sure if it was in any other states, but it was like the main one that I went to in like when I first started going and buying records when I was like 9, 10 years old. Like 80, 85, 86, 87, all the way through up. I think they got bought out probably in like late '90s, maybe like '98. Because I remember I went down, but I went hardcore to the Warehouse. It's one of my favorite record stores near my house from like '85 to maybe '93, and then Music Plus kind of was a little bit better, and around '93, and then but there was a Warehouse down in when I moved to San Fernando Valley, on Balboa, right off 405. There was one right there by the Giant. I remember I used to always go there because that was like my Friday night going out. Was I would go to Fat Burger and get a burger. I'd go to the records, or actually I'd go to the record store first, and then I'd get a Fat Burger, and then I would get a 40 on the way home, and I would drink a beer and listen to the new music I got. That was my Friday night when I moved down there. I didn't really have that many friends, and because I moved down there for school, and that was my going out, was hanging out and listening to music. So my staying in was always the going out. For me, I probably helped coin that term. That was me to a T. Staying in was the new going out. It's been like that since I was as long as I can remember. Um, but what was I saying? So Warehouse Records, you could return an unopened record, and so I was buying cassettes back in those days in the early middle '80s. So on the third exchange, you had to keep the fourth one. So on these, I would have these receipts with like, I mean, this is the second return. Well, actually, I'd take it back, and they would mark it. Okay, this is the second return for this one. Okay, this is the third return for this one. Okay, I got to keep this one, and they knew what I was doing, but I was kind of like, yeah, I didn't like it, because basically you could take them home, and I would record the songs I like because I had a huge cassette collection, and I would record them the songs I like, and then take them back, and then made sure I really liked the last one, so I would keep it. So I would think that I knowing me and knowing that I like electronic music more than rock music, probably at the time I bought it, liked it, but didn't like it enough to like keep it just because it wasn't my style, and I was looking more into like dance music and stuff like that, and new wave and goth music and stuff like that. I was more interested in that stuff than Pixies. Now, over the course of the years, I've really grown to respect Pixies, and this is a later reissue copy, and I do like their first like 4 or 5 albums. Um, you know, those are the early Pixie stuff is the stuff that I do like. But again, like there was nobody really that sounded like the Pixies before the grunge period, and I really like Frank Black's solo work as well. Los Angeles is such a great track. Um, but just very talented, unique group, and really nothing like it, and especially pre grunge. I would say maybe like in '92, '93, '94. There's those bands that are kind of like Pixies, like maybe like Urge Overkill, or there was a lot of kind of like indie bands in the early '90s that kind of probably got the notoriety that maybe Pixies probably should have, but Pixies were around for a lot longer than some of those bands, and this album in 1989 was just like nothing. Nothing was like this in 1989. In fact, so much so that it probably went over my head, and I returned it for buying something else. Um, sometimes that happens. When I look at the album, there's so many catchy songs on here. Some of my favorites are Debaser, Tame, Wave of Mutilation, Here Comes Your Man, Monkey Gone to Heaven, Wrapping Up, and I mean not wrapping up, but and then lastly with Gouge Away. Strong bass, you know, pretty sick alternative punkish kind of rock riffs. Frank Black's voice is unique and it bounces out with the girl, singing in the background and then on songs as well. So just really unique band in a lot of ways. Kind of alternative rock, but also kind of it's very Los Angeles band. And that's all I can really say is it's a very Los Angeles band. It's kind of your Jane's Addiction, right? I wouldn't say Red Hot Chili Peppers, but LA was unique and it had that kind of mixing kind of punk and hard rock at the time, and their own unique style of alternative music. There's so many unique bands that kind of came out of LA. Like I was listening to Missing Persons last night, and Oingo Boingo's another one. And then when you look at like hard rock, like Guns N' Roses and Motley Crue and L.A. Guns and Rat, and there's so many amazing L.A. bands in the early '80s through. I mean, even like the Motels was one that I really liked as well. That was another L.A. band. There were so many unique kind of styles of rock music in the '80s coming out of LA. Just the Sunset Strip, Whiskey a Go Go, and the Viper Room, and all these kind of clubs and places that really kind of spawned this kind of Sunset Strip kind of sound. Was really cool, and even new wave again, like Motels and Missing Persons. But as far as the opportunities of the album, well, I'll get to that after the songs real quick. We can go through the songs real quick. The Basers, one of my favorite songs. In fact, it's my second favorite song on the album, tied with Gouge Away. 3 3/4 stars. The way he sings it, the backing vocals, the guitar, the rhythm, the chorus is really strong. Really love Debaser. 3 3/4 stars. Tame, really strong too. Cool bass line, like the vocals a lot. 3 1/4 stars. Also, Wave of Mutilation, 3 1/4 stars. It has a bit of a sort of surfer rock sound to it, which again is very very LA. Track number 4, I Bleed, 2 stars. Here Comes Your Man, I got 3 stars. Chorus is good. Unique song versus her ace. Really unique song. I mean, I like it as much as like somebody else would, but I do really like it. It's 3 stars. Dead, I have 2 stars. Monkey Gone to Heaven is kind of like Here Comes Your Man to me, just so different and so unique. Monkey Gone to Heaven I like a little bit better. It's always one of my favorite songs on the album. 4 stars. You just can't, even if you want to knock it, you can't knock it. Like, it's so unique and so. A lot of people, I've heard it so many times too. It's just kind of been, it may be like the most popular Pixies song, too, in some ways. And for that reason, you always kind of like want to say you like something else better, but you just can't knock the creativeness and the uniqueness of this song. It's just a great song. It's really catchy. 4 stars. And then Mr. Greaves, it's okay. So I got it 1 star. Crackly Jones, 1.5 stars. It's okay as well. La La Love You, I really like this one. Unique, different, cool riff too. Guitar riff on this one. 3 stars. Number 13, Baby, got 2.5 stars. There Goes My Gun, 2.5 stars. Hey, 3 stars. Silver is okay, 1 star. Gouge Away, 3 3/4 stars. So when I add up the stars, it's 39 and a half stars divided by 15, and so it's a 2.63. So pretty strong rating, but 15 songs on an album. If they would took off like, if they got this closer to 12 or 10 songs, and let's say they took off the songs that I don't like, this would be averaging closer to the easily into the threes for me, and thus it would be a very good album. By the score. Um, so there is some songs that kind of hurt it because there's so many, but that's kind of what happens with 2 3 minute kind of alternative punk songs. You may not like a couple. A couple. There's always a couple that don't really do it for you, and when you have 15 songs, there's a good chance that you're not going to like a couple. They just don't stand up to the quality of the other ones. It's just that's just par for the course. It's hard to get 15 great songs on an album. You know. So if I could take off three songs, this album would be a very good album for me. But having said that, I still brought the album up a couple points and brought it to a 71 of 100, and so I could call it a very good album. I think the way it plays and stuff like that, you could, if you don't like a song, it goes by. That's sometimes the good thing a quick about songs being quick is if you don't necessarily like them, they kind of go by kind of quick. So, you could be doing something and sort of turn it out, and next thing you know, there's a song on that you do like. That's kind of the benefit of excuse me of having short songs, and you can kind of do that with this to kind of tune it out if you don't like a song. And when you have 15 songs, I understand that you're not going to have 15 ones that everybody's going to like. So even though I have three songs that are lower than good, that are all okay, I have 7 songs out of the 15 that are good or okay. you know, 8 that I like that are very good or excellent. So it's a balanced album, but I'm okay with there being 7 songs on the lower side of the scale for me, and still feel like it's a very good album. So yeah, I got it as 71 out of 100. My first Pixie album, and probably my all-time favorite, the most well-rounded, most full of songs that I like of any Pixie album. 71 out of 100, very good album. But yeah, that's my score on Doolittle from 1989 by the Pixies. 71 out of 100. All right, thanks so much.